right, we'll get it rolling on the Krueg Show. Hope everybody's having a great day today. Welcome to the Krueg Show. Raj in the house from RSF 49ers. Nick Bosa remains unsigned. What is going on? Of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in Northern California. Also brought to you by Marin Auto Glass, New York style sausage, and Underdog. Underdog, our brand new sponsor. We'll tell you more about Underdog here in just a minute. But welcoming in our guest today, Raj from RSF 49ers. You guys know him well. He's with us regularly, and he's back with us right now to talk a little bit about the Niners. Hey, Raj, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's up, Larry? I saw the title of our show today, and I'm a little stressed out. Good title. And now that you got a new sponsor, Larry, you might be able to afford to pay Nick Bosa yourself. Maybe you can get those sponsors behind him, get him that bag he needs.
There we go. What can we do for Nick Bosa? Let's pass the hat to see if we can get Nick Bosa, the money he needs. Well, here we are. It's the 5th of September, and the 49ers start in Pittsburgh 5 days from right now. So the question is Nick Bosa going to be there? Is he going to be signed? If not, what does that mean for the 49ers? What does that mean for Bosa? I don't know how you feel about it, Raj, but I'm just in that mindset that it's time. It's time to either make it happen or don't make it happen. The 49ers have to have this wrapped up. They cannot allow this to just linger. And that's where it's at right now. It's just lingering. I really believe that, it's a major loss for the Niners if they can't get him signed, but it's equally a loss for the Niners if they get him signed late, because it's all about trying to go to the playoffs and trying to host the NFC Championship game. And you just don't, this whole offseason, moving on from Trey Lance, it was all about, you got to go for it now mode, be in the win now mode. And if they're not going to win, if they're not going to have Nick Bosa there for week 1, I don't know if it's a win now mode. So where are you with Bosa? What do you think is holding it up? Do you think it's going to get done? Do you expect him to be there Sunday? What's the latest? What do you think?
Yeah, man, I think I'm on the same boat as most fans, man. I want to see this man get paid. He's the best player on this defense. Like, he is the game changer. I was seeing some stats today. I want to pull this up, man, and I was like, wow. It puts everything in perspective, and how good Nick Bosa is to this team. In 2 years, I think he had 135 pressures and 35 sacks. Compared to the 4 edge rushers they have on this team right now, they had 117 pressures combined. 4 players, that's less than one guy, and 18 sacks combined between 4 players. Drake Jackson's a second-year guy. We don't know how much we're going to get out of him. Clelin Ferrell, no disrespect to him, that guy wasn't even on the Niners last year. So this is huge. The Niners need him. Without Nick Bosa, this defense is good. With Nick Bosa, it's an elite defense. And they got a new defensive coordinator. We want to see how he's going to communicate and develop with this defense. And Javon Hargrave, they need to get their chemistry. We need Nick Bosa out there. The Niners can win a Super Bowl with Nick Bosa. The Niners can't win a Super Bowl without Nick Bosa, man. And I get it. It's tough. I see where the 49ers are coming from, because there's probably the future they got to think about, 2024. Got a lot of players with big cap hits. Brandon Ayuk next year, they got to focus on that. But right now, you got a Super Bowl window. Who knows what's going to happen? We don't know what's going to happen with Trent Williams. A couple other players. Who knows what's going to happen with these guys? Are they going to retire? Your window is your window is your window. You got Brock Purdy sitting there on a contract that's less than $1 million a year. You got to get it done at this point, man. It's tough. I know that Nick Bosa wants to set the market, his agent at least. His agent's trying to set the market, and he wants a certain amount, and they're standing on that. They're standing on their ground. They're not going to budge. His family's been like this. Joey Bosa, that's how they operate. This is their family. They operate like that. And at the end of the day, man, they're not going to budge. I think the Niners, we all know they budgeted a certain amount of money. I think they thought making him the highest paid edge rusher would make him happy, but He wants to set the market. The market has inflated over the years, and he wants to be paid higher than Aaron Donald. And I think that the team, or not the team, but the agents basically said, hey, look, to John Lynch, front office, and everybody, and saying, hey, look, do you guys think Nick Bosa is the best defensive player of the year? He's with 25, defensive player of the year, all-pro, former defensive rookie of the year. If you think he's the best player in the NFL, this is his price. Pay it. And I think that that's where the hung up is do the 49ers believe they think he's worth all that money to tie up now because of the future? And not only that, they might be a little gun shy because in the past they've had contracts that they've signed and they might have, bid him a little bit. Jimmy Garoppolo, they made him the highest paid player for a while after 5 games, right? Jerick McKinnon, they paid him a lot of money. So I'm sure there's a little bit of that gun shyness. And the 49ers, they thought he'd be a team-friendly guy, take what's going to benefit the team and do him right. But Nick Bosa, man, he's going to stand on his ground, and I'm happy for him. In the NFL, these guys don't care about the players. They got to get their bag. I hope Nick Bosa gets paid, though. We need him.
Who is Parag Marate leading this negotiation? Do you know that? Or I know he's doing the stuff with Leeds. Is he still the 49ers chief negotiator when it comes to contracts like this?
Yeah, he still is. He's still the guy. And, the lead stuff, he's still working on the lead stuff because I know a little bit of what's going on there. I can't say too much about the lead stuff because one of my good friends he's going to take him along to go to Leeds. But right now they're focusing on this so then he can focus on Leeds. Like that stuff it's coming up. Their season's starting soon. But right now, Parag, he's still working on those contracts. He's the guy. He's the chief negotiator. And, we know how Parag works. He wants to nickel a diamond a little bit, get a little bit of fairness for the team so they can, kick some money down the line in the future, things like that. They want to make sure that they protect their future, and they're going to lose some players regardless of how this happens. They don't want to lose too many players. Again, I think they're thinking long-term here, but a couple $1 million here and there. When it gets to this point, when you're talking about $30 million, $32 million, I mean, what's $2 million here and there? You could always restructure contracts, but yeah, Parag's the guy. He's the main.
Well, I ask you that because I get the sense, now you tell me if you think I'm right on this. I get the sense that, everybody reports to Jed, right? So Shanahan reports to Jed. And I think Shanahan's purview is the team and the record. So I think he's all about having, Brock Purdy over Trey Lance because he thinks he can win more games with Brock Purdy. He's even all about Brandon Allen over Trey Lance because he thinks Brandon Allen is more ready to win right now than Trey Lance. So I think in some ways, Kyle Shanahan's main concern is winning games.
Correct.
Then John Lynch reports to Jed. Okay. I think John's graded on the draft, the personnel, the roster, how much talent he assembles, and trades. So much so that I think that John Lynch prioritized the return when he traded Trey Lance. I don't think that he cared or that the Niners cared that they were trading Trey Lance to Dallas. As far as they're concerned, they're just happy to get the best offer they could get. If you told me that Dallas made the best offer, I'd say absolutely. Dallas made the best offer. But Dallas is your rival, and you just traded them Trey Lance. And Trey Lance either is going to be good or not. And if he's not good, then you pulled one over on Dallas. You got them to give you a 4th-round draft choice for a player that's not any good, who's never going to make it. But if you're wrong and he becomes great, you just traded a great quarterback, not just away for a 4th, but to your arch rival, simply probably for the difference between what your other offers were, and I would guess maybe they had a conditional. My guess is Dallas. If Dallas was the best offer, my guess is the Niners probably had a conditional 6th on the board from somebody. I'm just guessing. It's all guessing. Okay. I'm guessing somebody in the AFC probably offered them a conditional 6th-round pick. And instead, they took a 4th-round pick from Dallas. So why did John Lynch do that? I think because John Lynch is under some considerable pressure because I think he's evaluated by the roster, the moves that he makes, the draft, and the trades that he makes. And so I think he took that gamble, and it is a gamble, to give Dallas Trey Lance because he wasn't worried about Trey Lance. He was more worried about how it would look to whoever he has to answer to that he got a better deal. So, and then I think Parag also answers to Jed. And I think Parag is there to make sure that the 49ers sign favorable contracts to the 49ers.
I agree.
My point in saying all this is just that I really believe that Parag is hell-bent on getting a good deal on Nick Bosa, the same way that Lynch was hell-bent on making a good trade for Trey Lance. And I don't know that these sides are necessarily all working together. I think they may be working kind of independently, all under the umbrella of we report to Jed. And I would just say, hey, look, you know what? A good contract guy, you know, he gets a lot of good deals. But sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And I just feel like Parag so much wants to win the deal. And the Bosas are of the mindset they're really savvy. They want every penny. They want to win the deal. And let's be honest about this. At the end of the day, both sides can't win this Bosa deal. One's probably going to win out, and the other's going to wind up losing out. And if I was Jed, I wish Jed would go to Parag and just say, Parag, it's really, I want you to win like all the deals. But in this case, we got to have this guy here week one, get it done tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or, you know, because, I mean, to me, it's a losing situation if the Niners don't have Nick Bosa in week one in Pittsburgh, wind up losing the game, and then wind up losing home field advantage and have to go to Philadelphia. The season could be over before it started if they get off to a slow start because they don't have Bosa. And I think Parag's still hell-bent on getting the best deal because he's trying to show his worth.
Yeah,
I kind of wish Jed would intercede and just say, hey, Parag, getting any deal done is more important than getting the, you know, stop going against good in the search of great. You're not going to get a great deal. It's Nick Bosa. He's got all the leverage in the world. We pushed it back by 2 years. He gambled on himself. He won the Defensive Player of the Year award. He had 18 and a half sacks. He won. He's got leverage. You're not going to win this deal. I just wish Jed would intercede here because I get the feeling this is a lot about Parag trying to look good, selfishly, you know, in his area of expertise. What do you think?
His pride's on the line, Larry. At this point, I think Parag prides himself in being that guy that can, you know, eke out these contracts, and you're like, wow, look at this. Look at Parag. Like every year during free agency and offseason, we always sit here, you see the posts where, wow, the 49ers were able to get this, that, and the other. Parag's the genius. I've seen so many posts over the years, like, man, Parag's the genius. He's the wizard. He's the salary cap guru. But at some point, you got to ditch that title because at some point there's going to be a guy that you're going to go up against that doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care if you want to save a couple dollars here and there. That he doesn't care if you're going to nickel and dime him because Bosa's family, this is the way they've done it. His brother Joey Bosa threatened to sit out his entire rookie season. He held out his big extension year a couple years back. Like they've been trained. This is what they've brought up. They've been brought up in life. Like, hey, this is the way you do it. You're going to get great if you work hard and the success will follow. Like this is where they're at. It's a business for them. They know that they know that the 49ers need Nick Bosa more than Nick Bosa needs the 49ers. Nick Bosa could hold out this week, not play week one, which seems very likely at this point, seems imminent. And if they don't win this game, which, I mean, I'm not saying the 49ers will lose against Pittsburgh if Nick Bosa's there, but the chances of it happening are very higher without Nick Bosa. We don't know how this defensive line is going to act. Pittsburgh's an underrated team. You know, Kenny Pickett, he's looking like he's trending up. Good receivers. Pickens is great. You got a great head coach. You got TJ Watt on the other side going up against Colton McKivitz. You know, it seems like it could be a very difficult game, whether Bosa's there or not. And if the 49ers lose, John Lynch is going to end up paying Nick Bosa what he wanted in the first place. So why not just get it done now than have to, like you said, lose that home field, potentially losing home field advantage? Because the Niners, they can't afford to lose these early games. They can't afford to get off to a slow start. We've seen it last year. What happened? They got off to a slow start, and it was the Achilles on them, you know. And I think if they would have had home field advantage these last 2 years, it might have been a different NFC Championship game. You never know. So absolutely, Larry, they have to get this deal done. I think Parag, he's got to swallow his pride. And I know this agent's tough. Like, that's what everybody's saying is this agent's tough. He's tough. But they knew that, Larry, going into this 2 years ago. You knew that when this day was coming. You knew that. You knew this was going to happen. You can't. I feel like they procrastinated, and we all know, like they said, John Lynch says we budgeted a certain amount. Well, that certain amount you budgeted wasn't enough, man. You should have planned for this. I feel like they're scrambling, and I agree with what you said, Jed York. At some point, somebody has to step in and say, "Hey, man, we got to pay this guy, or what the hell's going to happen?" Because they need Nick Bosa to make it deep into the playoffs and win a Super Bowl. So it's a tough spot, Larry. And I get where the team's coming from. I know they want to nickel and dime a little bit, save some money for the future because they are thinking about that. And I completely get it. But it's a businessman, and negotiations are tough. In any job you have, you're going to have negotiations, and it's the toughest part of anything, especially sports. And I feel like the players need Nick Bosa. Like yesterday, you saw the locker room, Talanoa Hufanga, man, and Tashawn Gibson. They looked like drained. They hate answering these questions. They're like, man, we want Bosa out there, obviously, but we have to prepare like he's not there. They want Bosa to be out there because you're in the locker rooms. He's larger than life. He's this presence. When you see a guy like that in the locker room, like you feed off of his energy. You feed off his skill. I mean, that's the way I see it. So without Nick Bosa in there, it's just weird. And without Nick, I saw the unofficial depth chart today, Larry. When I didn't see Nick Bosa's name on there, I'm like, this team just doesn't give you that same vibe.
I mean, that's it. I mean, with or without Bosa, they're thin at defensive end.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Do they need Nick Bosa? I don't know if they need Nick Bosa. They need a pass rush.
Yeah.
They need a pass rush. I don't know if they need Nick Bosa. And that leads me to the title of tonight's stream, which is it time to trade Nick Bosa? To me, it's go time. It's go time. You either have to get him signed or you got to move on. I don't think you can sit there. I think it's a major loss if you go into week 2, week 3, week 4. You're still going to wind up – you're not going to win games probably. You're going to wind up losing games you should have won. You're going to ruin the season. You're going to ruin your home field advantage, and then you're going to wind up paying him whatever he wanted anyway, and it's going to be like a double loss. Is there any scenario that you would endorse moving on from Nick Bosa?
See, that's the question, because now you got rumors. We talked about this last week with the Reddit rumor.
John Lynch says no, by the way. Kyle Shanahan said no. I asked John the question the other day. I said, is there any percentage chance you move Nick Bosa? I couldn't even get that question out, and he's like, no.
So quick.
Simple as that.
Sorry, because I was so happy when you asked that question. He was like,
okay.
No, Larry.
He there was no ambiguity to his answer. It wasn't like, well, probably not. Well, most likely not. It doesn't look like it. I really don't want to go there. None of that. It was no. Simple as that. But I bring this up because, I mean, one, the Reddit thing, I don't know. The source on that, who knows?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. There are teams out there that do have enough cap room to do this. Now, you would think the Niners with an $840,000 starting quarterback would and have had this as their stated goal the entire offseason. You would think that they would never consider trading Nick Bosa. But I'm going to throw two teams out and two phantom deals. And I would do both these deals. Okay, there's a chance he doesn't want to pay California taxes. He's from Florida. He lives in Florida. He went to St. Thomas Aquinas. He lives in Florida to this day. His dad played for the Dolphins. If the Dolphins came knocking and they said, we'll give you Christian Wilkins, Jalen Phillips, and a number 1, would you make that trade? I might.
Personally, I wouldn't, Larry, but it's
a
good offer, and I think that is probably the case. If they get to this point where they do have to trade him, you have to look at instant reward, because you can't just take him for picks. You can't just trade him away and work for picks, because like you just said earlier, is this defensive edge pass rusher on the 49ers is very thin. We talked about this all offseason, Larry. Like, I wish they would have listened to us, because one of the things we said all offseason, we banged the table, get an edge rusher, get a pass rusher, get a veteran pass rusher. It is what it is at this point, because I think they banked on making sure Nick Bosa was there. And he's your best player. So if you're going to trade him, you need to get instant return, good pass rushers, so you can at least move on and have someone to help you, because this edge department is very thin. I wouldn't trade him, though, because he's the best player on this team, and I feel like it would really kill the morale of this team, man. Like, you have guys, both, Kittle, Warner, Trent Williams, all these guys, they're sticking together. They might leave next year, and you got to give them a fighting chance with their best player, man, with Nick Bosa. Like, you owe it to them. You bring in somebody else. I'm not saying they wouldn't accept the player. They've already been through so much drama over the years, man, with Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, the Brock Purdy. Like, this whole locker room has been through so much drama, Larry. Like, I just feel like you can't do that to this team. So many distractions. Just stop. I wouldn't trade them. I just wouldn't, because of the fact
that I got one more. The Jets call. Robert Saleh is the guy who drafted Nick Bosa to some degree, right? He was the defense coordinator. The Jets called, and they're offering Will McDonald, the first-round pick this year at Iowa State, speed rusher, had a good preseason. Jermaine Johnson, who was their first-round pick last year, also has a lot of talent. Bryce Huff, and a first-round pick. They're offering you 3 defensive ends and a first-round pick.
Again, they're all good players. I think they're
great. You wouldn't do that. I mean, they don't have great depth behind Bosa right now. They lost Ebukam, they lost Amenahue, they lost Jordan Willis. I mean, the one thing would you rather have one great pass rusher or 3 damn good pass rushers?
I want the best pass rusher in the NFL, and that's Nicholas John Bosa. He's the best. He's the best. He's the best.
But you can get 3 for 1 here and a number 1.
That's great.
You still wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't. I'm biased, maybe I'm biased. I want.
Well, no. I mean, you're saying you want you're just saying you want the great for sure player that you. I mean, Nick Bosa is 25. He's probably, I think, the NFL Network in the top 100 of the list. I think he was 4th. So I mean, we're talking about top 5 player regardless of position in the NFL. You're not crazy to say you want Nick Bosa. I'm just saying that. I asked Chris Koceric 3 weeks ago to his face. I said, hey, Chris, you got an awesome number 1 line, but you lost some quality depth. Are you going to play Bosa and Hargrave and Armstead and Drake? Are you going to play that number 1 line more? And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to play him the same that I played the number 1 line in the past. So that tells me that the 2s and the 3s are going to get reps and they're going to get go. Those guys are going to get playing time. And in the trade that I just threw you, you're going 3 for 1. You're getting rid of 1 great pass rusher, and you're adding 3 good pass rushers.
And that's great. I love that for them. If the only thing I'm accepting from the Jets, if I'm trading, here's the thing.
Okay.
And I love that you're throwing that at me and saying, hey, look, you're getting 3 really good pass rushers.
I mean, it's depth. You have exactly what you had last year.
I know what I'm getting at in Nick Bosa. I'm getting the best defensive player in the NFL, and I'm going.
If he's healthy, he has missed some time.
Don't do this. So, if I'm trading for Nicholas John Bosa, okay, if I'm trading for Nick Bosa, I need Sauce Gardner from the Jets in this trade scenario. Give me Sauce in the mix. You got
to Sauce. If you got Sauce, Will McDonald, and a number 1. You're only getting 1 defensive end now, but you're getting a number 1 corner, and you're getting a future number 1. You making that move?
I still wouldn't do it, but I very strongly consider it because, I mean, Sauce is great. But here's the thing. Without a good pass rush, your secondary is going to be exposed. So how good is Sauce? Nick Bosa is the best defensive player in the NFL. I'm not giving him up.
He is. He's great. Let me ask you this. Do you think there's been anything that has happened? Because, 10 days ago. No, I say roughly 10 days ago. I don't know if it might have been 8 days ago. It could have been 11 days ago. Right around 10 days ago. We asked, and I didn't ask the question, but somebody else when I was there asked Kyle Shanahan, are you surprised by the way this Bosa thing has gone? He's like, no, I'm not. So they're like, no, you're not surprised? He's not signed, and it's, the preseason's almost over. And he goes, yeah, no, I'm not surprised. So that was Shanahan's comment. He wasn't surprised that we had gotten to the final preseason game and Nick Bosa remained unsigned. But here we are now 5 days before the week 1 kickoff, Niners-Steelers at Heinz Field on Sunday, and he's still not signed. And it's just, I'm kind of wondering if Okay, so John Lynch was asked about it, and he's like, at the beginning of camp, and he's like, well, I'm not going to comment too much other than we're talking and everything's copacetic. We agreed, they agreed, we agreed. We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And that's good. There's no reason to rake over a guy publicly who's going to be on your team, and there's no reason for him to say bad things about you or put out trade rumors that aren't true to try to exploit the team. So I love the hey, nobody's going to say anything bad comment. We're all just going to go forward. We're going to do our talking and everything privately. But then the Lynch was asked, well, what do you think? Does he need camp? And he's like, yeah, in my mind, he needs like 3 weeks. I played, and it's like I needed about 3 weeks. So now he's not getting the 3 weeks. And then Lynch was asked about it the other day, and even though Shanahan said, yeah, I kind of expected it to go this way, Lynch was like, I really want to get this done. I mean, you can tell it's like it seems like it's almost more his responsibility than Kyle's to get this thing done. And I'm just kind of wondering if you think something has happened along the way to make things acrimonious in any way. And I'll give you 3 examples.
Okay.
Nick's been hurt in the past. Maybe the Niners brought that up. Hey, you know what? We'd love to pay you all this money, but Nick's been hurt. That could have pissed him off. Mm-hmm. What if he brought up that or what if something changed with, I'm thinking that this agent, I don't know anything about this agent, but he got $102 million for Joey. Mm-hmm. Is it possible that when the Niners traded Trey Lance, that the agent said to Nick, hey, we got these guys over a barrel. They just traded Trey Lance. They cannot. It's a PR nightmare, Nick, to have to announce to your fan base that, hey, by the way, thousands of you Niner fans, the only 2 jerseys that you probably own are Trey Lance and Nick Bosa, and we're going to trade them both. Is it possible, you think, that maybe super hardballs being played by the agent, that once the Niners moved Trey Lance in a trade, that the agent said to Nick, hey, look, there's no chance in hell these guys are going to be willing to trade their 2 guys that they drafted in the top 3 within 10 days of one another. They're not going to trade you. They're not going to fine you. We've got them right where we want them right now. Is it possible that at that point the agent said, hey, you know what? We want 100% of this deal guaranteed. So instead of the $102 million of guaranteed money, we don't want to go to 110, which would be reasonable. We don't want to go to 120. We want to go to 140, 150, guaranteed. All of it guaranteed. And we're doing this because we've got the leverage. And then, hey, you know what? If they don't like it, they can sit. They don't like it, they can sit you out. And, what do you think? Do you think there's anything that acrimonious, either an agent's, feels like their side's got leverage? Maybe the Niners brought up the injury factor. I don't know. Do you think there's anything that may have changed this equation in the last couple weeks?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I think a lot of it is a combination of all those things, Larry. I think, several months ago when we all, went on our ways for off season and we were all jumping and kicking our feet thinking, okay, Nick Bosa is coming along and getting that contract. I think we all felt like they were just going to go in there. They're going to go out there, negotiate, and they're going to, bang it out. And it was going to be nice and easy. And I feel like that's what we all thought. I honestly think that the Niners thought they had a lot of time. I think part of it was, I feel like they just waited too long. I think they started negotiating a little later. And again, that's me going and saying, I don't think they did enough research on the agent or didn't think that Nick Bosa would be this tough with his agent. I don't think they really thought this was going to be the case. Again, I think they were really thinking, hey, you know what, Nick loves us. We love Nick. It's going to be a happy family. We're going to be patting backs, and it's going to be great. But that's not the case. And now, as things have kind of progressed during the offseason, I absolutely think that all this drama, all the quarterback stuff, the debacle with Trey Lance and everything, this gives the agent so much more leverage. And I think every day, every week.
And you're saying he's not going to use it then?
No,
I'm saying maybe he's using it.
No, absolutely. I think that's exactly what he's doing.
So what if he wants 140 guaranteed, Viraj?
Then that's probably why the Niners...
You're giving it to him?
At this point, you have to, man. You got to go.
You're gonna go. You're gonna up the record of guaranteed money by $38 million.
You figure it out.
That's a major loss for Krueg, man. That's a major
year.
loss.
But you know what? If you would have taken this more seriously, if you would have put more, if you would have cared, I feel like they've really neglected this whole situation, Larry. I really do.
Which is inexcusable.
It is, and that's what I'm saying. You're reaping what you went in for. Like, you've done this to yourself. You dug your own grave, Larry. You went and you waited, and the Niners do that. They should have learned their lesson with Debo last year. They waited until the 11th hour. You're over here. It's 11:59. The clock's about to strike midnight. Cinderella's slipper's about to turn, and her carriage is going to turn into a pumpkin. It's not a good situation, but absolutely the agent's going to put as much leverage as he can. I think there's a bottom number that the agent's looking for and a top number. Maybe the bottom number, they're saying, as long as you hit this number, we're okay. We don't need the 150 guaranteed. I'm sure that's something that maybe they said, look, this is the lofty expectations. This is the high end, because they know some team may be out there to push it out there, but they're looking at this certain number. They're like, okay, maybe you give us 33 million a year. That's the number we want, right? Maybe the Niners are at 30, because the reports I've seen are they're okay with making him the highest paid edge rusher.
Well, first of all, that's another one. What happened to, if I'm the agent, what happened to, hey, guys, we're not going to talk through the media? How does Diana Rossini know that he's getting a record-setting offer? If I'm the agent and he didn't come from me, that could rankle me. Hey, John, you told us to shut up. You said you were going to shut up. We were going to shut up. And now Diana Rossini's saying the Niners have already offered him record-setting money. Stop spilling your beans to Diana Rossini and ESPN. I thought we were going to keep this quiet. Maybe that blew this thing up.
I'm sure that there's a lot of things. Again, there's always reports. A lot of it's like there's no specifics, but there's enough information out there that you can put two and two together. And I feel like the agents that could play into it. But going back to what you said, injury, right? And I said this earlier. I feel like the 49ers are a little gun shy because they have really been hit with certain contracts. Not all of them, but they've been hit. Dee Ford, Malcolm Smith, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jerick McKinnon. They've put some big money down to paper, and those injuries came back and hit them, very hard. And you're right, Nick Bosa, he did tear his ACL, and that's something they probably – I guarantee you, Larry, they went into negotiations, and that was one of their cons. Because, you're going to go in there, you're going to have pros and cons, and they're going to say, well, Nick Bosa did tear his ACL 1 year. That is a re-injury concern. Maybe that can drive the price down. And that might have inflamed the agent. I mean, if I'm a player and my agent tells me, hey, look, they're a little worried that you're going to stay healthy, and you're Nick Bosa, the most chiseled, the most jacked player out there on this team. Like, he is so disciplined. Like, he's going to be in tip-top shape. For someone to call him out and say, well, you tore your ACL, we think you might tear it again, so we're not going to pay you that much. To use the injury against someone like that to get less money, that would piss me off. So if they use that,
maybe that's created a little acrimony. The other angle on this thing, by the way, Dusty Gold says, lifetime pig in a pickle, and Pasquale delivers all the New York-style Italian sausage the Bosa family needs. Come on, Nick. You getting all the barbecue and all the sausage that you could possibly want? Come on in. Now, let me ask you this one. This is another one. I personally think that the fans are going – I mean, there's not a lot of ways for the Niners to look good here. For example, if all of a sudden the deal gets signed in a minute, they sign in 1 minute, and it's $105 million guaranteed. I think I'm if I'm looking at that, I'm going, you're grinding the gears of our best defensive player for $3 million guaranteed over what his brother signed. So it's like almost it better be a dramatic guarantee increase off of what Joey signed, or the Niners look really, really bad. I think, for dragging this thing out. I'll give you another thing there where the Niners look bad. He signs, let's just say it's Friday, and he plays Sunday, and he tears his quad.
Oh, shit.
The Niners look really, really bad. Really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean that's what I'm saying. It's like we're now getting into these scenarios where it's hard for the Niners to look good. Like if you were going to trade Nick Bosa, you needed to trade him 3 weeks ago when you could have gotten whatever players you're gotten coming back, indoctrinated into your offense or defense. So the trade doesn't help you. If you sign him and you get your price and it's only a couple $1,000,000 more guaranteed than what Joey had, people are going to sit there and go, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
If you sign him and you give him $130 million guaranteed, now Parag's lost. You got taken. You had no, you paid a king's ransom, and don't think they're not measuring that. So it's like at this point. I mean, just get it done. I was talking to Kalia Davis yesterday in the locker room, and he's like, man, it's Nick Bosa. It's Nick Bosa. So it's like he's in his own category. I don't think anybody begrudges him anything. This idea that he's disappointing the players, no, they get it. They all get it. They're all in cahoots with one another as when it comes to money. They're never going to question another player, especially a great player and a devoted player like Nick Bosa. They understand it's a business and he's got to get his. But, I mean, there's almost no avenue that's left for the 49ers to actually come off looking good unless they get it signed in the next 24 hours and he hits the ground running and produces on Sunday and doesn't get hurt, and the numbers are significantly more than what Joey got, but still not, $30 million more of guarantees. It's just, and they're in a weird spot. I mean, and then it's easy to say, well, just sign him. Just sign him. I wish they would just sign him. Well, of course, everybody wishes they were just sign him. But when you put it on the table and say, well, if you sign him to what he wants, you have to say goodbye to Kittle and Juszczyk and Ayuk and Armstead. And those guys all have to leave next year. Now suddenly, you see what I'm saying? It's like it's easy to say, just sign him, man. He's awesome. Give him what he wants. Okay. But then don't be crying next year when they wave goodbye to Juice and Kittle and Armstead and don't sign Ayuk, maybe coming off a career year. Just understand that's when you wanted them to just get Bosa signed. I don't care. The I don't care part is the part that you're now dealing with.
Yeah.
So that's the reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, if I told you that, okay, you can get Bosa signed at his price right now, and let's say they are asking for a mint, but that means no Armstead, no Kittle, no Ayuk, and no Juszczyk next year. You still want him signed?
I mean, at this point, I think that a lot of fans, I think the smarter people know that it's going to come down to it. And that's what, again, I think that's where the 49ers are at. They're really looking at that future and really thinking, man, if we sign him to this big deal, let's say they're going to give him 33 mil, more than Aaron Donald, 110 guaranteed, 115, whatever. They know it's going to come with some repercussions, and you're right. You're going to lose some players. But that's why I said this window, you don't know how big this window is. You got to go in. This team's going to be changing. The roster's going to be so different in a couple of years. Like some of these players, cap hits, it's crazy. Like you're paying Fred Warner premium money. Charvarius Ward's getting paid like 17 mil. Debo, you've got a lot of high-paid players. At some point, it's going to come and hit you, and that's the reality of the situation. So, yeah, I'm going to pay him now, but you're going to have to deal with those repercussions. And it's unfortunate, Larry, but that's the business. That's the way the NFL goes. Look at the Rams. They went all in. They paid some big-time contracts, and they're suffering now from it. So, it's great to sit here and say, oh, we can keep drafting young players, but that's what they do. We've lost players over the last couple of years. But you know what? If you pay Nick Bosa, I think you have to accept the fact that, yeah, you're going to lose some players next year. It's unfortunate, but if the 49ers go out and win a Super Bowl and they give Nick Bosa this crazy contract, it'll be worth it in my eyes. It'll be worth it. That's what you play for is championships. And everybody knows it's a business. Like you said, the players know it's a business. It's just coming down to this tough position that the 49ers in, because you're right. They got to look for the future, but they also have to make sure the money makes sense for them in terms of, the players that are on their roster right now. Are they going to have to do more restructuring? They got Javon Hargrave on the books this year. Like his contract's not nothing to mess with, either. So
I was thinking maybe Hargrave. I looked at Hargrave as, hey, man, they got another guy in their front seven who commands a double team. Maybe he was signed as leverage against this.
Maybe.
You know what? Because you need a guy in your front seven that commands a double team, and maybe they said, "Hey, we got to have Hargrave. We got to have some leverage against Bosa." Fish and Chip said you all lost your journalistic mojo. Bosa was the story all summer, and you were all chasing clicks and likes and money over backup quarterbacks. New media, really. Well, it's easy for you to say Fish and Chips, and you're partially right. But one, if you know me, I hit every topic all summer, including this one, and two. The bottom line was, we had no indications that this was problematic. Every time we talked to the Niners, it's like, we got this. We're not going to get mad at him. He's not going to get mad at us. If there was any shot warning early that said, oh my God, these guys are not on the same page. Oh my God, this thing's going to go to the 11th hour. Oh my God, this thing may not get done at all. Then I'm with you. But there were no indications of such. Jeremy says Lynch should be fired on the spot if he trades Bosa. You know the way this is going to go, Raj? They're going to play the Steelers on Sunday, with or without Bosa. If they play without Bosa and they lose, people are going to be on Monday very frustrated, lashing out at Bosa and lashing out at Lynch and Shanahan, saying that they should be fired over this. First of all, John Lynch has assembled almost annually one of the deepest rosters in pro football. Kyle Shanahan's offense, he's been to a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, for crying out loud. He just scored 33 points a game last year with Mr. Irrelevant. I'm so sick of they should be fired. They're on the hot seat. They're not on the hot seat. If anybody says they are on the hot seat, those people probably you should stop listening to, because they're not. They have no source. Jed decides if John and Kyle are on the hot seat, and they're most definitely not on the hot seat. You can say they should be on the hot seat, but you cannot say they are on the hot seat. They are most definitely not on the hot seat. The seat I'm sitting on right now in my studio is hotter than the hot seat that these guys are supposedly on.
Oh, wow. I will say this, though. I think it's going to make them look really bad if they play this Sunday and they don't win. Like you said, it's just there's not a lot of situations where the 49ers look good with how this is transcended, and going back to that comment of, you guys lost your journalistic mojo is because you guys should have been covering this. Whenever Kyle talked about it and John Lynch talked about it, they were so smooth. Oh, we're good. We're good. We expect him to be signed. He's a special player. Like, they pacified the media. They made everybody sound like it's going to be good. But it started to change over the last couple of weeks. Like, John Lynch a couple of weeks ago after that preseason game, that Chargers game, he looked like shaking. He goes, we hope to have him. We got a lot of work to do. When he said we have a lot of work to do, and it was the final preseason game of the season, I was like, oh, man, this is bad. At that point.
Well, and it seems like they're not talking. It seems like, hey, that's our offer. And like and like Bosa's people are coming back. That's our ask. That's our demand. It's like, are you guys negotiating, or did you just submit an offer and a demand and there's no negotiation? I mean, I get the feeling that maybe these sides aren't talking that much. Mike Monahan says, Larry, everyone's going to Pittsburgh except you. What gives? Get it done. Raj, are you going to Pittsburgh?
No, I'll be home and watching the game.
Raj ain't going.
Damn
Pittsburgh.
It. I want to go to Pittsburgh, but I got to work on Saturday. But you're right. One thing you said that really hit me is, if this contract is not substantially more than Joey Bosa, and it hits the when it gets signed and everything, we're sitting there going, you guys are splitting hairs over like $2 million.
Seriously, I'll rise up and scream bloody murder.
People are going to rake them over the coals if you're splitting for a small amount. Like, if it's a big substantial, and we're like, okay, that's what you were talking about, everybody's gonna be understandable. But if you sit there and it's Larry, I'm ready to go crazy on this.
Seriously. I want free passes to Great America from now on if that happens. Joey Nichols says, Jalen Phillips, Christian Wilkins looking better every dat. I think he meant every day. No question. The Krueg Show, my son put out, hike the like button. Yeah, well, we got almost 900 people in the room right now, so I think there's a lot of people have liked this thus far. All right, let's hit some of the supers. I'm off to the A's game tonight. I've got to see bad baseball. Dazzo 0187. Is there really an option at this point? We're too close to game one. Don't we have to just sign him? Yes. Dazzo, you are Daz correct.
That's correct.
Do you like that? See how I worked that in there?
That
The real team me says with $17 million made by Jimmy Garoppolo, Crosby and Chandler Jones plus a first, enough to dull the PR hit. Crosby and Chandler Jones in a first. Would you do it, Raj?
For Crosby and Chandler Jones?
Put him with the Raiders. I want Michael Mayer, too.
What did I say? I said if you get someone that's going to give you immediate impact, Max Crosby, I'll do it. Give me those two. I'll take it.
BV50. Guys, do you think there's a chance Bosa takes less so the 49ers can sign other players in order to win championships and endorsements? Nope. It's not the way he's wired, not the way his representation's wired. It's pretty clear at this point. He ain't taking a penny less. Right? That's my read.
He's not.
No. It's not. There's no. This is. Parag's a great negotiator, and the Bosas get top dollar, and that right there probably should have told us this was going to be tough. David E says Niners have leverage. Oh, really? Bosa's under contract for 2 years. If the Niners can go 5-3 without Bosa, that's all they need to do. I don't know if they can.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, I don't know if they can do that.
No.
49er fan, LA. I like that. He says, I think you consider it if we won a Super Bowl already. In other words, trading Bosa.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah.
You got to climb to the top of this mountain. 49er fan LA says also if it came to it, Debo or Ayuk. Well, Debo's already signed. It's Debo over Ayuk. I would take Ayuk over Debo, to be honest.
I mean, in terms of a pure receiver, it depends. In the 49ers offense.
Who's better?
In the 49ers offense, I think you can make the case that Debo is more important to this offense because they're not a passing team. If you put them on the Bills, the Chiefs, the Vikings, you want Ayuk all day. They're not going to use Debo in his guy.
Who was better this summer?
Brandon Ayuk, absolutely. Yeah, he's the better receiver.
Ayuk was amazing this summer, guys. 808 Niner. He's been a member for 4 months. I always give the members a little clap. He says, why do they owe the players? They had their chances to make the Super Bowl and win it and came up short. Bosa is great, but where does he go in the playoffs? He got 0 sacks in the playoffs. What if they brought that up in the negotiation?
Oh, shit. That'll piss him off.
Hey, we'd love to have you, Nick. We'd love to give you, a part of the team and your own suite and everything, but you got, shut out in the playoffs. Ooh, maybe that would rub him wrong.
Yeah.
Matthew Rowley says if the Niners sign a huge deal they cannot get out of, we are the Rams in 2 years and maybe can't keep Purdy. Sign him at any cost is dumb. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. The fans, at the end of the day, let's be totally honest about this. And I don't blame the fans at all because first of all, it's funny money. It ain't our money and we can't relate.
Yeah.
But, and at the end of the day, I don't know about you, but I love talking football. I don't really enjoy talking about what Bosa makes versus what Debo makes versus what anybody makes. In fact, I could give a shit. I don't care what these guys make other than the fact that there's a hard cap and you can only have certain number of players and certain cost players. Other than that, there's people who be like, you guys begrudge him. I don't begrudge him a nickel. I don't care if the guys, I could care less if they gave him 32% of the team or if they gave him $1 billion. I don't care. At the end of the day, just show up week 1 and get ready to play. I mean, seriously, and I think I'm like most fans. Most fans, we don't care at all about exactly who makes what. We wouldn't care literally at all if there wasn't a cap, right? Yeah. If this is the old Eddie D days, I'm rooting for everybody to get paid.
That's it. 100%. Pay the guys, get them their money, but I get it.
And be there week 1. But now you got to make decisions. Now you got to prioritize. It's like governing now.
It's a tough decision, and I feel like I get it. I see where the team's coming from because, like we talked about today, the future you're going to lose. Like I completely understand it, but at this point, you've crippled yourself, and I don't think the 49ers have any leverage in this negotiation. So at this point, I mean, the only thing you can do is pay them. It's tough because again, if you lose games. 2 games, whatever. What happens if you lose 2 games? You're going to pay him what he wanted to in the first place. So,
listen to Drake Jackson. He was in the locker room the other day going, please pay the guy, please. Michael Alana says this feels like DeForest Buckner 2.0 situation. Can't agree on a price and ended up trading him. Does this drag on beyond week 1? And I wonder if there was a communication breakdown looking back at Buckner and what he said about that negotiation, what the Niners have said about that negotiation. I get the sense that maybe the Niners don't negotiate as much as they give ultimatums and put out, hey, this is our offer. This is the best we can do. I don't know. I'm not sure how much negotiation happened with Buckner either. Razaki says, Raj, too much of a Bosa fan. What's too much? What's a good trade?
I mean, again,
it's hard. This is hard.
Best defensive player. It's tough. Again, if you want to get a trade for Bosa, I'm not saying they shouldn't. There's no correct package, but if you're going to trade him, you need someone that's going to come in and help this defensive line this year. Because if you're trading for multiple first-round picks, I mean, that's great. But your win now Super Bowl window without Nick Bosa is
you can't trade him for picks.
Yeah,
you're gonna go take a massive trade of picks to Trent Williams tomorrow and tell me what he says. He's gonna say F you and your picks. That's what he's gonna say.
Larry, are those picks gonna rush the quarterback? Are those picks gonna protect your quarterback?
Right. Not. Go tell Drake Jackson, hey, we got picks. Go tell Demo Lenore and Mooney Ward, hey guys, good luck playing corner this year. We got picks. Yeah, okay. Anthony says, breaking, Larry paying full Bosa contract, then taking all 49er faithful to pig in a pickle. Thanks, Larry. Go Niners. # quest for 6. That's it right there.
You doing it?
All Niner fans, meet me at pig in a pickle. I got you.
I'm going.
Michael Alanis says, lots of fans need to come back down to earth. Our window is closed. Teams don't enter regular season with distraction after distraction. Sorry, Raj, not willing to blow up the roster for one player. First of all, the window is not closed. Your quarterback is 23. How could your window be closed? Come on. It's ridiculous. And the Niners are the I think you saw it the other day, Raj. Aren't they like the 22nd or 26th youngest team in the NFL?
They're one of the younger teams. They got a lot of good young talent. But again, their best talent is not on the roster right now.
That's true. Let's see here. Wait. I think I missed one back here that I want to make sure I get because I don't like missing the supers because I really respect everybody who donates. And I think I might have pushed one out of the way here. Hold on. Gigantic yellow one. Let's see. Oh, no, that was Michael. Okay, here we go. Did not miss it. Here we go. Now we got this one, Junior Beckhold. Some guy named Grant says they're on the hot seat. Yeah, I think Grant is saying they should be. I think if you really press Grant, he would say he knows. Grant's smart. He knows they're not on the hot seat. Now, he might want to throw in they should be or his opinion, but if you said, Grant, honestly, do you believe that John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan are on Jed's hot seat? He would say no. I almost guarantee that. Michael says, fantasy football question. Should I start Anthony Richardson or Sam Howell or pick up Jordan Love?
Oh, good question. Who's
Here, let me take a look. Hold on. There's only one way to do this. You got to look at the schedule.
I need to know who's playing who.
Okay. Anthony Richardson is one of my favorites, and I would say go with him. He's at home against the Jaguars. So that's Anthony Richardson. Sam Howell is at home against the Commanders or against the Cardinals.
Oh, Sam Howell to the moon.
Yeah, it might be a Sam Howell, but it's his first start. Or Jordan Love. What's Jordan Love? What do the Pack have? Where's the Pack? Who do the Packers play?
Anthony Richardson's first NFL game.
Packers are in Chicago against the Bears. I would say Jaguars defense is pretty good, but Anthony Richardson is so good. I don't know, man. I would roll with Anthony Richardson on rushing yards. Okay. Sam Howell on paper is probably your best bet, but Richardson's a little bit of a gamble, but he also could give you a little bit more upside. So I'd say go.
We'll come back to this, Larry. I'm gonna come back to this next week, and we'll see who got the better. I'm gonna.
Do you play fantasy?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Who's your number one pick?
If I had to pick a number one, I'm going Justin.
No,
Jefferson.
who was your number one pick?
Oh yeah, well it depends. I got a couple of leagues. I got Justin Jefferson in one of my leagues. I did get CMC in one of my leagues, and then my other league, who did I take number one? I took oh God, what was the other league? I can't remember who I got. I think I got.
I'm in the 95-7 the game league. It's 14 teams.
That's a tough league.
14 teams. I took Garrett Wilson. I had the 9th pick overall. I think Garrett Wilson's going off.
He is.
I also got Mahomes, and I've got Isaiah Pacheco, and I went with Jahmyr Gibbs. I love Jahmyr Gibbs.
I like Pacheco. He's gonna be good.
Pacheco's going to he had a great fantasy finish last year. Dazzo says, is there any financial benefit to waiting till the 11th hour to do deals? Like they know what they need to extend BA next year. No.
There's nothing.
There is no advantage. It's a negative. It's not an advantage. Matthew Rowley. Bosa plays 60% of the snaps. Even at that rate, he disappears in the playoffs. If we can't win without Bosa, we're screwed already. Trade him. Wow, look at that.
Real quick, Larry, I got to speak on this. But he says he disappeared in the playoffs, and I'm sure that
he had 0 sacks, but didn't he disappeared?
Probably
he might have been a little fatigued.
They probably use that in their negotiations because all the good stuff that the agent's going to gas up Nick, the 49ers have to pull the reins back a little. I get it. But, man, he put that team into the playoffs. He carried that team into the playoffs. And his double teams that he generated in the playoffs, even if he didn't get a sack, he was a big part of them, man, in the play. Like, don't sit here and say that he didn't do anything in the playoffs. I know he didn't have sacks, and that's how you measure a pass rusher. But this guy was still getting double-teamed, choked, held. He got tired by the playoffs because he had nobody really helping him, man. Charles Omenihu, he had a domestic violence charge on him the week that they had a playoff game. We didn't even know if he was going to play. Samson Ebicam, I like the guy. He's not a freaking, like, elite edge rusher. Look at the Eagles' defensive line, man. They got 4 guys that got 10 sacks. They went and, you know what they had to do this offseason? They went and got Nick Bosa some help. They got him Hargrave. So I don't want to hear that's a lazy comment that Nick Bosa disappears in the playoffs. Come on.
Do not be lazy around Raj, damn it.
In the playoffs,
no. I mean, seriously. I mean, come on. I mean, what at the end of the day, what are we really talking about? The guy's badass. He had 18 and a half sacks. He's the best defensive end in the game. The Niners cut Zane Gonzalez today. So no Zane Gonzalez. He had the calf strain. Zane, we barely knew you. It sounds like, according to Eric Branch of the Chronicle, George Kittle, who did not practice with a groin injury, or call it adductor if you want, that he could potentially miss the Pittsburgh game with that, miss week 1 for the second straight year. He remained sidelined on Monday, and he wasn't there at practice. Were off today. He's been dealing with this adductor strain for a few weeks now. It occurred in early to mid-August. And then the other one to look for is, who do you think starts at safety opposite Hufanga? Gibson has not practiced. He says he's going to go. Or do you think it's going to be Jair Brown? What's your guess?
I say Gibson. He says he's playing. I believe him. He's gonna be there. I'm sure Jair Brown will get a couple more reps than he probably would have initially, but I think it's going to be Gibson, Hufanga. I'm not worried about that. It's the first game. I think Gibson will be there.
Raj, you're the best, man. I'm off to see A's, Jays. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, of course, man. I can't wait. Hopefully next week we're coming off a win, and Nick Bosa's been paid. So,
Raj, tease whatever you got cooking the next couple of days. What do you do on game day? What do you do on Saturday leading into game day? You got anything that's coming up on your channel or on the IG that you want to tell the audience about? We got close to 800 people in the room.
Yeah, man. I mean, at this point, I'm just, going to do, pregame, all that good stuff like everybody does. But I'm trying to work on some stuff for the Instagram, like subscriber channel. I got some new sponsors this year. So
nice.
Nothing this week big. We'll just, cover the game. But later in the season, I got some things cooking. So we'll see how those kind of things pan out. But like when I'm at the game, I'm going to be with certain sponsors and we're going to have certain content. So hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. But, we're still building towards some things. But, otherwise, I'm just excited to see the games this weekend like everybody else.
Look at this one right here from Kirk Reynolds. Trade Nick for Joey Bosa. Nick's better than Joey. Adrian Gutierrez says, love the show, Larry. Just messing with you. I know.
We all love Larry. We love
Everybody loves the show. The show's going great. Thanks to everybody who's enjoying the show. Thanks to everybody who's enjoying Raj. Raj, I'm glad that we've been doing regular deal. We'll figure out a regular time, and I'll send you some options here in the next 24 hours for our regular.
Yeah,
we want to settle into a regular time slot every week. But I'm fired up to have you on and talk ball with you again. Looking forward to another great year, man.
Yeah, me too, man. Let me know. Just give me some options. Monday pretty much works for me. I'll try to schedule my patients around your time available on Monday, because Mondays I don't really work. I just go see patients here and there.
If we can't do it Monday, we'll figure out another day for sure. But because Monday's packed right now, but we'll see. Wait, what happened? There we go. Mike Miller says 49ers got off to a slow start with Nick Bosa. Purdy was the difference maker. If we need to move on, trade him. Wow. And then we got this one from Razaki. He says, pig in a pickle. Do they have beef ribs? No, I don't know that. I don't know if they have beef ribs. They may not. They got the brisket though. Oh, the brisket. Oh, the brisket. Very, very good. Showboat says Raj is the man. Frank Tom Ocean says, is that any relation to Billy Ocean? Smash the likes.
Hit those likes for my boy Larry.
Frank says the legend Raj with an exclamation point. Mimi B. I like that one. It says good show, Krueg, Raj. Teasy says Larry going to the A's game. That's right. I got to hit an A's game every decade, at least one. No, yeah, I'm taking my boys. I'm sitting in Townie's seats. My man Townie.
Nice.
All right, Raj. Hey, have a great Tuesday night. We'll talk to you soon, my man.
All right, take care. Have a good rest of your night. Let's hope Nick Bosa signs, man.
Go Niners. There we go. All right. Almost time for us to bolt for the door. Let's thank the sponsors, MarinAutoglass.com, 415-883-3030. If you shatter a windshield, they will come out, pop out the old one, glaze in a new one, sweep away the glass. It's a one-stop shop. You can't beat Marin Auto Glass. The only kind of sausage I eat is New York-style Italian sausage. And, of course, the title sponsor of the Krueg Show, Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in Northern California. Here's what their place in Corte Madera looks like.
So New York style sausage was started over 70 years ago. We are the largest producer of fresh Italian sausage on the West Coast.
What makes our sausage in New York style is really the recipe came from back east, from New York, from Connecticut.
If you look at all of our labels, there's maximum 4 or 5 ingredients, which we're really proud of.
There's no preservatives, no MSG, fresh in, fresh out.
The pork comes in fresh, goes out fresh. There's never any freezing throughout the process. We've always used fine quality cuts. We're never gonna deter from that. It's one of the reasons why our sausage is so good. I guarantee you put our sausage up against anybody else's from a flavor standpoint, no one will beat it, hands down.
Hey, do yourself a favor and do me a favor. Go buy a package of the New York style Italian sausage. Guaranteed you will love it, guaranteed.
Yo, do me a favor and do yourself a favor. Go check out New York style Italian sausage, damn it. All right, one more super. Bronc Freak. We all want to see Nick next to Gravedigger, but not at all at the cost of the future. All right, that's going to do it. I'm off to see Bassett against Waldachuk. What'd you say to me? I said Bassett against Waldachuk. A's, Jays across the bay with the boys. Can't wait. A night out on the town with my 3 sons. Krueg and my 3 sons. Irwin says Irwin drops this one. He says, finally a Sal impression. That's Pasquale. That's Pasquale Batanti, all right? I could also do a Trent Baalke. You know what I like about Nick Bosa, Larry, is that he hasn't torn the ACL recently. He's torn it a couple times, which makes me love him, but he hasn't torn it recently. Dusty Gold says, thanks for the shirt, Larry. Got comments already. Thanks for ordering the shirt, Dusty. El Camilo Dorado, Pasquale QB1. And on that note, we bolt for the door. Peace. Hey, by the way, check out our brand new sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Click the link in the description and sign up using the promo code Krueg, Krueg, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. We'll be using Underdog Fantasy every week this football season to do fantasy tournaments with our listeners. All right, good Tuesday extravaganza. Hope you enjoyed it. Thursday night, don't forget, me, Vish, and Jesse. We're over at Jesse's place this week. Should be a lot of fun. We got a lot of content coming throughout the week. I'll be doing a bunch of videos later on tomorrow morning, and we got a lot more live streams planned. We're going to try to go behind enemy lines and talk to some Steeler people tomorrow. Looking forward to that. I'll also be down in Santa Clara for more Niner practice. Got a chance to catch up with Willie Snead, Kalia Davis, and Colton McKivitz, and hopefully you can check out those interviews right now on the Krueg Show. Until tomorrow, peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle. Yeah.